just having a dance, and it's
I like
live
to have a
now.
little
La,
dance,
la,
to be
la.
fair.
It is quite good to have a little bit of a dance. Anyway, hello viewers, and hello Evie. Welcome back to the channel. Leeds played against AC Milan earlier today, and it was fine enough. I think a lot of people I've seen online are for some reason a little bit panicky and spooked again, because of course they are, because it's the internet. But we drew 1-1 with one of the better sides in Italy, and I thought we should have a little bit of a chat about that before we hop into a little bit of quiz stuff that I've had on a bit of a quiz stuff that I've had on a post-it note for the past week, and I've just been like, I'm going to get around to it. I'm going to get around to it before the questions change, because that would be a problem. But before we dive into everything, how are you doing? Things all good?
Yeah, things are all good. You know, getting. I'm able to move a little bit better. Still not like standing upright yet, but I'm getting there bit by bit. So yeah, all good, all good. How are you?
You know what? I'm going to use a pun to answer that question. Shit. There we go. There we go. Because it's a broken toilet. Anyway, match earlier. I'm gonna ask this very, very, very quickly, because I literally sent you a message about this earlier. Schmidt, not good.
No,
No.
I think I put on Joe Wayman's stream earlier on that he would be okay as like a backup winger type situation as long as he had minimal defensive capability. Like slip of the tongue there.
We know he's got the capability.
Yeah. But I don't trust him defensively. I don't think Dan James it was brilliant either defensively, and that is usually one of the things that I applaud Dan James for, is for his defensive work as well. But I think they just seemed to be, it was the only place that really they were getting any joy was down our right hand side, their left hand side, and it just gave me a bit of PTSD with Jesse Marsh. Oh my God, all you need is a ball over the top and there's no fullback there. And he's not even fast. At least like if Goodmanson was leaving his left-hand side a bit bare, he's very fast. Whereas it was quite ploddy, and I know that's not necessarily a word, but it's a word right now, and that's what it felt like. It felt a struggle for him to. There was no afterburners. There was barely burners. So yeah, I just didn't really. Yeah, I didn't rate his performance last time. I didn't rate his performance this time, and for as much as I don't particularly like the person, I thought Harrison did a better job at left back than Schmidt did at right back today. And one of them is we supposedly bought for being a fullback. So yeah, that takes a lot for me to come out and vaguely praise Harrison when I, despite what Farkas said after the match, still don't want to see him really at the club.
No, I think for me the issue with Harrison is he's not said anything still about the stuff that was mentioned when he was out on loan, that he was like, oh, I'd love to stay at Everton's fantastic. It's like, you are still just there on loan. Let's not go a little bit too far on this one. And the stuff with his mum, it's just all it takes is going, sorry about that, I'm back now. We cool? And just like a statement like that.
You've just got to acknowledge it. But we had it last year with Verba, and he was never fully actually integrated back into the squad, starting lineup, or into the fan base either. And I find that the players who make definitive statements whilst out on loan, Joseph, aren't coming back. And I do find it very difficult to think of Harrison as our player. The only thing that makes me think that Harrison is our player is the fact that his hair looks very he's gone back to the proper man bun that he had in the 2021 season. And that's probably the only thing that is making me soften towards him, is that I can look at part of his hair, because not so much his hairline has gone further back, but the man bun has made a reappearance, and that automatically makes me think of Bielsa. So it makes me think of good times. And yeah, but Schmidt is not the one, hasn't impressed. I genuinely think he would be okay as a substitute winger or a cup game winger, but defensively, he did a couple of okay things. He lost the ball and then got knocked over and then spun and got the ball with his legs and swung it. Like, that was probably his best kind of bit of movement the entire game. And that came from a mistake as well. So it's like, he has to mess up in order to do something good.
Yeah, it takes falling over to do the best thing that you've done in a match. And I think doing that is a little bit like...
It's quite risky, because if you fall over in the Prem, quite often you don't get a kind of a second chance to do something right.
Yeah, like maybe, and just this is a wild one, so you're gonna have to hear me out on this.
Okay.
If he spent more time standing up, maybe he'd be able to run more, and that means that he might actually be in the right position. I know, and then it wouldn't be a case of one pass and then they're in. Also, fun fact, for the second match in a row, he got nutmegged like that just to set them up for an incredibly easy chance. And it's like, you are on paper a defender. At least pretend, just for a little, because like the club that you're going to, they've not fully agreed the deal yet. You've not signed the contract yet, so like you still have to, for a little bit, look a little bit competent. Just a smidge. That's all we need.
No. I think that's what annoyed me about Aronson getting, people going through Aronson last week, when for the second consecutive game, Schmidt has been shocking, really. And again, I do feel kind of like going all Brooklyn Nine-Nine and shouting vindication when it comes to Daniel Farke and his judge of character and his judge of ability as well, because so far, people that he has frozen out, or whatever you want to kind of word it as, have pretty much proved themselves as to why they were frozen out and as to why they weren't picked. Another one bites the dust, but is it a loss? Like, is it just another player? Because it's not even, I remember when people like, oh, it's clearly a 49ers signing and he just doesn't want to play him because he doesn't want to be told what to do. All right. He's played him in the last 2 games, big games that realistically, that should be the closest thing as possible to our starting lineup against Everton. And even though Everton for the last couple of seasons have attack-wise been shocking, really, like they have scraped wins, I still wouldn't trust him against Everton, so why wasn't he playing in the Championship last season? It's almost like Daniel Farke sees him on a day-to-day basis and can see his weaknesses.
It's almost like, and again, this is another wild take, watching people train is going to inform you a little bit more than just reading someone's tweets sometimes.
These truth bombs that are coming out left, right,
and
centre.
I know. It's just, it's madness, and I didn't know I had all this wisdom within me, but here we are, seeping out like water from the pipe in the toilet. On slightly more positive notes, Stack is quite good, isn't he?
Yeah. My husband kept on making like, oh, the cards are stacked up with him. Like, oh, there's just so many jokes, and he got so many eye rolls. But yeah, he looks ready. Like, he looks like he's been kind of looking at his watch and waiting for the Premier League to call. Like, he genuinely looks. I know it's pre-season, but it's not pre-season against crap teams. You know, it's been against Villarreal and AC Milan. And if we'd have had him when we played Man U, I think he'd have been exactly the same then. You know, I really feel confident. He shot from outside of the box.
I know.
Like,
I was like,
we don't do that. And that's incredible. That, like, I don't know whether it was even meant to be a cross. I don't know whether it was like a Rodrigo against Man U in the 4-2 game, but it was brilliant. And, you know, obviously we already almost went 1-0 up when he hit the crossbar as well. So he's not afraid to take a shot. I love that, you know, because we don't have that really with Gruev. Occasionally we have it with Gruev. Like, I will say that out of the 3 midfielders over the last 2 seasons of Ampadu, Gruev and Kamara, Gruev was the one who actually, especially in the second season, did try and shoot. But I like that. I really like that. It gives us an element of surprise as well when we can't break a team down through the normal route. So yeah, I'm happy. I think he was my player of the match. I thought he didn't stop from the moment he started to the moment he came off. I like that. I love that quality in a player. Somebody that will make moments, but you don't always see. He reminds me a little bit of Click in that aspect of he's just constantly doing something and then bam, there's a goal out of nowhere kind of thing. And there's so many players from that promotion season that we haven't found replacement for, even though they weren't deemed good enough. We still haven't found proper replacements for, you know, Pablo. He was obviously well into the senior part of his career by the same time we got promoted. Click, Bamford, you know, we haven't found replacements for 3 of the players that played such a huge part in last promotion. So hopefully he is maybe a Click type replacement, but just hopefully an upgrade that can grow with us. I was very happy with him. I thought the second half, we limited them so much. First 15-20 minutes we were the better team. Then they discovered our right hand side, and we could have conceded easily 2 or 3 goals in that, like the second half of the first half. So we did. By the time like half time was there, I was like, oh my God, please just let us keep it at 1-0. Let us just, please. I don't want to have this, because the fan base will go into meltdown if we go 2-0 down in by half time. Like, there'll be no mercy. But the second half, I really thought we dominated, and that excites me to think that even without superstar players, you know, like as in we haven't got our Rafinha in yet. You know, we have kind of game changers, because I do think that Aronson made a difference. I genuinely do really think he made a difference. And I thought Ramazani was really trying as well. And I do hope he comes good. I really do. I hope. I think so many people criticized Daniel Farke and the Ramazani situation, but people seem to forget that he was playing Ramazani ahead of Solomon until he got injured. Yeah. But that doesn't suit people's narrative. No. So, and then Solomon was undroppable. So are you going to risk your job knowing full well if you don't get promoted this season, you're going to be gone? Or do you stick with the players that are turning up and that are giving you results? I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those where people go into the entire situation like having their immediate assumption of like, it needs to be like this or we're in trouble. And it's like, well, you can keep shouting for Ramazani all day if you like, but at the same time, he should have stayed fit. And he was unfit, and he dropped behind someone that, after signing, everyone was like, oh, Manor Solomon's injury prone. Okay, so don't get injured before him, and maybe you keep your place in the team. Very, very quick thank you to Sly, who has said starting off the fund. If you hadn't known, Evie, if you weren't watching the stream earlier, the chat started up a toilet fund at one point to sort out the plumbing. So thank you very
Oh,
much.
that's
Sly.
really
I
sweet.
appreciate
That's
that.
so kind of anybody who's donated.
Thank you very much. Oh, there was a thing that I was gonna highlight, and I completely forgot to highlight it because I was distracted by the toilet fund. That was it. Rysel is concerned about Tanaka, says he dwells on the ball, takes him, he touches before letting go, lost it a few times today. I thought slightly the opposite about Tanaka today. I thought Tanaka was very, very good at progressing the ball, and there was one point, can't remember which half it was in, but Tanaka gets pressed really, really, really hard by like 3 different players. It looks like he's been tackled and somehow manages to basically crawl his way through them with the ball and plays it forward to, I think it was Nonto or someone like that.
Yeah. Also, he was playing right back. How many times was he covering for Schmidt in that first half? I thought Tanaka was incredible because he just did the job that was needed. He wasn't shouting at Schmidt. There was no animosity. He was just the ultimate professional and was playing where he was needed. He was kind of like the, a Stuart Dallas type player in terms of, right, there's a space there. I'm going to fill it. I know it's not my job, but that's what the team needs. And for me, that was brilliant. He probably did tire, but he was trying to do his own job and another player's job as well, and just being lovely. And I think his hair this season looks incredible as well.
Even as a completely straight dude, I was like, all right, Al, calm down. Yeah. You don't need to be looking that good.
He looks very handsome.
Necessary. It's just not. He was like, right, okay. So we signed a bunch of people that are over 6 foot tall. So there's, I mean, I'm a 5'11" Japanese guy, so I'm tall relatively compared to like, what can I do to take myself up a level? Hair, and it just worked.
No, he did kind of look like he could have like a Herbal Essences contract coming his way anytime soon.
Oh, he's beyond Herbal Essences. He's like, it's coming from like a NASA laboratory where they've worked out the perfect shampoo, and somehow Ao Tanaka got his hands on it, and it's nuts. It's wild.
He's got stardust like intertwined in his hair and stuff. So yeah, sorry, Rysel, but we both really disagree with that.
Yeah, we firmly disagree, and now we're feeling things about Ao Tanaka.
Yeah.
There was one moment in the first half where I got very, very, very mad at one of our wingers. I'm going to exempt Dan James from a lot of sort of criticism that he's gotten from various people from this match. He's had like 3 days of training. So the fact that he wasn't able to get back in and cover for Isaac Schmidt is A, not really his job in the first place, but B, he's coming back from an injury, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's not him that I'm mad at here. In this case, it would be Willie Nonto, because the issue that I've had with Nonto in the past is he's really good on a technical level, and when he wants, he can really put the effort in. However, when it comes to decision making, and it comes to being one-on-one with the keeper, but also you've got 2 players to your right that do not have opponents that will be able to beat them to a ball. Oh, I got grumpy. And I was like, let's not do that next season, please.
He just keeps on refusing to cross, and I found that Goodmanson was having to do exactly what Firpo had to do last year and play the winger. So go to the byline and cross it in. And we actually created some of our best opportunities with the 2 of them on the pitch when Goodmanson was playing the winger role. I did think that Nonto did quite a few defensive things very well today, and that is something that has been a criticism of not last season, but the season before, because I think last season he did come into his own. But yeah, I was annoyed with that. He goes all Somerville, is what I will say, is he goes for the wide run, pauses it, the defender comes to him, he brings it back, looks at taking the shot, doesn't then take the shot, and then the momentum's gone and they've got 7, 8, 9 players behind the ball. And then it's like, okay, so we're just now going to give up possession as well for it. we're not going to do anything with it. That was probably my main frustration of the game in the first half. There was a lot of breakdowns in Perry did a few good long throws out where he launched it past the halfway line on not even a punch but a throw, and it looked like we were on for a really strong counter attack. And then again, like you said, the decision making, it then just allowed them to get all their players back, and then we just lost it again, and we just had possession for possession's sake, and that was frustrating. And we're not necessarily going to have those chances. We have to be that decision making, that instinct that he had in the first season in the Premier League. He needs to regain that side of his game. He needs to have all of the good things that Farke's instilled in him, the defensive responsibilities, the teamwork, but his decision making, again, for the team, needs to be better and quicker. Yeah. That's what you need in order to play at the top level. You have to, it's the decision making. So many players across the footballing sphere have fantastic technical capabilities, but only if you have that clarity in the final decision making will you make it in the Premier League.
Yeah. And then if we don't have that, it's not only the difference between have you added some goals in a promotion push, it's the difference between does the club stay up or go down, and therefore what does the future actually look like? Because if it's bad, it's bad.
Yeah.
And we could really, really do without that. Just to cover this off so it doesn't really need covering in the slightest. On the Matteo Joseph stuff, yes, I saw the statement that he did in an Instagram story. And a lot of people have been like, well, he said sorry, so maybe when he comes back, it's fine. At no point in that statement does he apologize in any way, in any shape, in any form. There is no use of the word sorry. I'm just going to summarize because I've got it to my left at the moment. There's one where it says, I'm going on loan, I want to say something. That's paragraph 1. Paragraph 2, I really looked forward to playing for Leeds and my dream came true. Fine. Number 3, I had a good opportunity to grow. All that bollocks. Fine. Number 4, I would have preferred things end differently. And I'm going to do this word for word so we can just verify that he's not actually apologised for going on strike, not bothering to show up to a pre-season tour. It's true I would have preferred things to end differently. There are situations that haven't been easy, and sometimes not everything depends on you. I trust that time puts everything into perspective, and maybe one day I'll have the chance to tell my side of the story. Now it's time to gain minutes, keep developing and face new challenges with the same ambition and commitment and use of ChatGPT. I leave motivated and thankful, knowing this is just another step on the journey. That's not an apology. That's a, well, I'm gone now, and I don't know if I'll come back or not, but bye, guys. I'm not going to explain anything, and I hope that I look better in retrospect.
If anybody, especially if you're an older generation, doesn't understand the phrase that obviously is a lot more popular and understood now of gaslighting, is exactly what that statement is. It's giving you tidbits of truth, and those are the best lies, are when you give elements of the truth, and then they sound far more convincing. But it was good because of the fact that people are saying that he's apologized, because that is what the statement is there to make you believe. It is there to make you believe that he's apologized, when in actual fact, he has internalized his victim mentality and externalized blame on essentially everybody else, including the club and including Daniel Farke. By not mentioning him, because he doesn't mention him, the fact that he was the manager that gave him his first senior debut. Like, he doesn't mention anything. He doesn't mention the fans, as in, thank you for my experience when I scored against Sheffield United. I will never forget that. Also, you're still a Leeds player. You're going on loan. And this is what I said earlier on about the fact of there's certain loan players that make statements or don't say things that makes you know that it's a giant middle finger up to every single person that have I've also just seen a comment that's absolutely farcical as well. Yeah. By what metric? By what metric? If he can't come back from a miss against Burnley for an entire championship season, he is not the player that everybody, including myself, because last season, in this exact same time last season when we were watching preseason, we all thought he was going to absolutely rip it up, and he didn't. He failed drastically, and he doesn't even have the same excuse that Ramazani had of being injured. He doesn't have that excuse. His arrogance and his own self-belief that he was a greater player than he actually turned out to be, and that he put his own career at such a young age, after seeing what it did to Willie Gnonto and after seeing the fallout that the fans gave him. When Willie Gnonto had scored in the Premier League, he'd gained us points in the Premier League. Joseph hadn't. At what point does anybody think that Fark owes Joseph an apology? He hasn't won us anything. In the games that he's scored, again, the same criticism that Pirro came in for the season before, where the majority of Pirro's goals came when we were already winning. And actually, if you took away his goals, we'd have still won the game. Joseph had done the exact same thing, because even the potential goal that he got us against Preston was an own goal. It wasn't him that got the touch. So he hasn't gained us any points last season. So why does Farke, who got us 100 points, who got us Leeds' best ever points total, why does Farke owe a player that refused to play for our club? Why does Farke owe him an apology? That is a ridiculous comment.
Yeah, it's... If Daniel Farke's responsibility isn't to Matteo Joseph. Daniel Farke's responsibility is to the club and to the fans and to the unit, not to make sure that one prima donna gets enough minutes so he can feel good about himself and feel like his own championship medal is a little bit more valid, in spite of the fact that he scored, 3 goals, maybe? And there is a perfect sort of counterbalance thing to the Matteo thing. Look at Bamford. Bamford, at the moment, is effectively alienated by the club and is in a spot where he has been told that he is not particularly wanted by Daniel Farke and he won't be picked at any point again. Where's the press releases? Where's the agent bitching and moaning saying that, well, actually, I'm going to force a move to XYZ location? That's not happening. He would have gone on a pre-season tour, but exiled to the 21s. And he was someone that wasn't wanted.
Meslier as well.
Meslier.
And you, anybody who has seen me talk knows that I don't want Meslier. But he has done it as a professional. He has done exactly what he should have done as a professional. He came on pre-season, he turned up, he did everything that he was supposed to do, and hasn't moaned, hasn't publicly. Yeah, I'm sure that he's feeling bitter and twisted behind the scenes, but outwardly, respectfully, to the fans, to the club, to the manager, he has done exactly what his contract has asked him to do. Fine. And he will go with our best wishes, because, I mean, he's 4th choice keeper now. Like, he's gone from being 1st in the Premier League to now eventually 2nd choice in the Championship and now 4th choice back in the Premier League. So he's going.
4th?
Yeah, because Daniel Farke has come out. Yeah, Daniel Farke has come out and said that it would be Perry, Darlow, and Alex Cairns.
Jesus, that's a bit grim.
So Oof. He didn't need. He told them that he wasn't needed. So if you're 4th choice keeper, when in reality, in keeping terms, you should be coming into your prime over the next few years, you don't want to be 4th choice with a club that you have mixed history with.
Relationship.
Yeah, like Facebook status set to it's complicated kind of thing.
Yeah. Before we get on to the little quizzy bit, do you have any final thoughts on the match and things that we haven't quite covered?
Just that I'm feeling positive. There's still work to be done. We need cover in fullback. That's just a fact. I did think Byron played very well. Actually, when he came on, he created a very good chance between him and Aronson. But we need cover in that area. We either need a left winger or a right winger, because Nonto, I actually think Nonto, so I'm going against the grain here. Everybody says Nonto plays better on the left. I think when he first came to the club, he had played better on the left. And I think maybe naturally he plays better on the left. But actually, for the last 2 seasons, he has continuously been played on the right because of the fact that we had Somerville and we had Solomon, who played on the left-hand side. And I love actually the relationship that Bogle has created with both Dan James and also with Nonto. And I think that relationships can almost outweigh natural preference when in the right system, in the right teams. So either way, we need another winger. It's just whether we decide that Nonto is a left winger and we're happy with Ramazani, or whether we think it's Dan James and Nonto, or Dan James and we need another right winger. Either way, we need a winger. And if it's a winger that can play both sides, even better. I know he says that he's keeping Harrison, but we still need another winger because Harrison hasn't done anything for 2 years in the Premier League as a winger.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I wouldn't mind him as 4th choice.
Yeah.
4th choice is fine, but you don't want to be relying on him starting.
Well, he'd be 5th choice, wouldn't he? If we got another winger in.
If we got another winger, yeah.
Yeah. So I just, winger. Stack makes me feel a little happier with the 10 situation, because between him and Tanaka, we could maybe utilize that creativity a little bit more if we get cover at the fullbacks, because then Tanaka isn't having to cover a right back. And then obviously a 9, but I think we need a creator more than anything, because we weren't getting the ball that often into creative positions. So a number 9 actually wouldn't have mattered a great deal throughout this preseason. Whereas if we're creating more, then you create the need for the 9. But we need some creativity, whether it comes in the form of more wingers or 10 or a 9 that can do a bit of everything and bring in another 9. So you've got a number 9 that can do a Pirro job as well. And you've got somebody that can go back and forth. And again, that keeps other teams guessing on what we are going to do next, type of thing. Is Pirro playing in the 9 or is he playing in the 10? Yeah, we just need a creative spark. But I think against Everton, the team that we have, I think we'll do okay.
Yeah, I'm reasonably happy. Like, going into this season, if the squad remains as is, which it won't, we will still make some more moves because there's 3 and a bit weeks left of the window, and a third of all transfer moves get done in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm so chilled with the transfer.
Yeah,
genuinely, I'm so chilled.
But going into this season, if it was just this squad, I still think that if there is a relegation battle, at least we're making it quite tight.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be a we're blown out of the water job.
No.
But we'll see, and we'll make some moves. But we got a little quizzy thing to do. Before I tell you more about the quizzy thing, I need a number from you between 1 and 3.
3.
3. Okay, cool. That's because I've got 3 different questions, and any one that you go with is a different question per number, so that's completely fine.
Okay.
I do have one very, very important stipulation, and I will do that to sort of emphasize that. You've got to hide the chat for a few minutes.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yep, hidden.
Cool. So, I have 3 lists of 10 names. You've picked list number 3. But from said list, you need to get as many as you can. If you get them in order, you get a bonus point because you got it in order, and that's quite nice and all that stuff. But I feel like the list that I'm looking at right now, you ain't getting them in order. you've got a couple of lives, but I need you to name the players at Leeds United right now that have been at the club as a senior player in a senior capacity for the longest amount of time, from the longest tenured to the 10th longest tenured. And anyone that has been loaned out, that still counts because they were under a contract at Leeds United.
Okay. Right. Question to just make sure that I don't. On the flip side, if a player was a loan player before they were officially our player, does that count with them being at our club for that period of time?
I will say yes.
Okay. Right. So,
But because I feel like I know the player that you mean in this regard, but I will allow that player in either place that would be accurate, either the position that they were there when they signed permanently or when they first signed on loan.
yeah. Right. I'm presuming that you haven't been super, super harsh and you haven't got a trick like with our current number 25, who was obviously at the club previously, because that would be an ultimate dick move.
I considered it. I decided against it.
See, but this is how I know you now, because I considered that you would consider that.
Oh,
Okay.
there's one of the other questions in which there are some horror answers. So I'm going to tell you what it is because you're not getting that question unless you want to pop back for another one. I don't know. But it's captains, and it's if people have captained a single match. So there's two people in there that have only captained EFL Cup matches, and there is one person who captained during that big, deep injury crisis under Marcelo Bielsa.
Wow. I am glad that I didn't have that question, because that I genuinely think I would have struggled with, because that was a shit show. Right. So let's get back to the current one.
Yes.
So we've got, and is there only 10 players? Or are there more?
My list is of 10 players.
Right.
Again, if it was the captain's one, there's sort of 11 because there's one weird situation with the bottom of the list, but we're not on that. That one's going to be a problem. Whoever I give that one to is in deep shit. But it's not you, so that's fine.
Okay. Right. Let's go with oh gosh, because a lot of them came at a very similar time in terms of this super old players. Because I know the current number 9 is one of our oldest players. But it's whether, because did he came the same year as Bielsa, didn't he?
Why would I answer that question?
I'm talking in my brain.
Okay.
Because in theory, so did the person in question regarding loan and then permanent player. So are you a super dick in terms of, because they both signed in the same season, which one is actually the older player? Because they both will have come in the same transfer window, but I am not that anal in the fact of I don't know which one actually signed first.
Well, I do. So
it's
I will let you off on that.
I would hate to live in your brain sometimes.
I will let you off. It's fine.
Okay, right. Well, I genuinely can't think of another player that's still here as of this season, like right now. So I'm going to go Patrick Bamford.
I will give you that as the number 1, and I will explain why once you've answered the number 2.
Jack Harrison.
So, the weirdness is I couldn't find the specific dates on which each signed, so I went by debut date, and Bamford's debut was 6 days after Jack Harrison's. So, in theory, Jack Harrison, but since I don't know the signing date, I'm just going to give you
Right.
it either way.
Okay, that's fine. That's very generous of you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, who else? Now, the under 21s. Now, this senior.
Yes. So, for example, because this one very obviously isn't on the list, Harry Gray wouldn't count even though he's been at the club for a decade.
Yeah. Okay. Because I'm torn now between two.
Date of signing for the club.
Then I will go with Pascal Strauch.
That's why I specified, because I think I know the two players that you were split between.
Ilan Meslier.
Ilan Meslier, yep. You're 4 down.
Oh, God. Who's still at the club? When did... Because now there's 3 players that I am now torn between. 2 of which are out on loan. Or one of them is definitely out on loan. Another one, I don't know whether he's still at the club or whether he's found another club. Because the club that he was at are still in the Championship. But I don't know whether he's come back there on loan. And then the other one would have been before Pascal, but we didn't sign him because Man U got him. But it's between those 3 players.
I think that wait, for the third one that you mentioned, are you talking about our tiny Welsh friend?
My boy.
Your boy. I think he fits in before that. I think he fits in pre-Meslier because he was in the 6-part documentary. Yes, I think
He's in the documentary, but he's not. That's
No,
the
but
whole
if we were
fiasco.
to have oh, right, okay, I get you. Yeah.
Because he didn't actually sign for us, so
Yeah.
he wasn't
I
our
thought
player.
you were saying in the event that he were to have. That's what I thought you were saying.
No.
Okay.
No, obviously we didn't get him, but those 3 players all came, I'm pretty sure, in that second Premier League season.
Oh, did they? That's the question, isn't it?
I'm going to go with Joffy. Then when did Greenwood start?
Side note, by the way, this isn't going to help you in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Harrison would typically fit in here if we were just going on permanent signings. So this is the other place you could have put Jack Harrison.
Can I put Jack Harrison twice?
You're not getting a bonus point, but sure.
Loan and permanent.
Well, in that case, you missed the second and third loans. So
right,
that was a really happy look.
I've already said Joffy, but I don't think it was Joffy. But I'm gonna now go.
It was
with Dan.
Joffy. I was like, yes, it's Joffy.
Okay.
Yes.
Greenwood.
Mm-hmm.
Dan James. where I'm.
Yes,
Yeah, so Greenwood, then Dan James.
those two are out of order.
Oh my god!
But you could still get 3 more.
Okay, right. So I need 3 more. Okay.
Oh. Okay, I don't have a problem. That's fine. Okay, cool. I thought I might have had a problem at one point there, but we're fine. I've sorted. Yeah.
That's fine. I'm really pleased that we've both are
He's
having different meltdowns.
he's after the list, the guy that I was thinking of there, so we're good.
Okay. Who else do we have? Right. Well, that's the end of the 21-22 summer transfer window. Then we have the January transfer window where we got Somerville. And I believe that was the only player we got in. He is no longer here, so he doesn't count. Then in
No, hang on. We got Somerville before that. We got Somerville. Somerville's debut was right after Dan James's debut.
Well, either way, it doesn't count because of the fact
Yeah, it
he's
doesn't
not
matter.
here.
It's fine.
So,
He's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. Screw him. Not screw him because I've got no problem with Cray. Okay, right. Well, in that case, it is the dreaded 22-23 transfer window, and our first signing was Brendan Aronson.
It is, and I distinctly remember that because I was on a charity walk with Phil Hay next to me, who looked at his phone. It went ping, and he was like, "Oh, signed Brendan Aronson." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Thanks, Phil."
Yes. Insider knowledge with Phil Hay.
Yeah.
Right, so that takes us to 8. Then who do we still have? Well, I know one that's going to be 9 or 10. Rasmus. Oh no, he's out of contract. He was out of contract, wasn't he? Right, so that's my first life gone. He's no longer here. I forgot because he went out on loan and then he went out for a late loan, but it ended up being and then they bought him and he never came. Yeah,
and it was a little bit, it was a bit wobbly.
Screw you, Rasmus.
I'll let you
Right.
off.
So in that case, who else did we get in that season? Aronson left, Sinistera left, Adams left, Rasmus is gone. I know there's 2 players that I can think of, and I'm trying desperately to, and I know one of them will definitely be in, but I don't know if there's anybody in between the January transfer and the other one that I'm thinking of. So, right, sod it. Nonto, Verba.
Are those your final answers?
Yes.
I'll give you Nonto, but that's out of order. Because Nonto is the 10th person on the list. Verba comes after.
Oh, okay. Oh, God, who do we still have? Darko JB.
Darko JB. Yeah, there we go.
What a waste of £5 million that was, all because Man City needed some PSR. That's really annoyed me because I was so because I'd even thought about him because when I was thinking about Greenwood, I was thinking that he played for Plymouth, and then I remembered Darko JB played for Plymouth and got relegated last season, and then obviously there was the big in front of the Sheffield United, and the that because that was the day when we played Preston and Sheffield United played Plymouth. So yeah, I even thought about Darko JB, and I knew that he. So does that count or does that not count?
How do you mean, does that count?
Because I got 2 wrong, didn't I?
Hang on. 1, 2, 3,
Or am I
4.
allowed to think of more than the 10 on the
No,
list?
because I've not got more than 10 on that. Because then I'd need to put some work in. I'm not putting any more work into this.
So do I lose then?
I've forgotten the rule that I was going to make for getting them in a row. I'll call that 12.5 points. There we
Okay,
go.
I'll deal with that.
Because you got the first 5 in a row,
Okay.
and you also got all 10 of them. So if I say half a point for getting them consecutively,
Okay,
then
that's very fair.
that's
That's
fine.
very
There
fair.
we go. There we go. And we love a game show that's made up as you go along.
Absolutely.
So there we go.
Absolutely. They're always the fairest game shows.
What I'm no, right, okay. I'm gonna call it out of order. Because it's like, there
I
we
like
go.
that.
There we
That's
go.
a genuinely really good idea for a quiz name.
I like it. I like it. I've got to persuade more
Please,
people
can
to
you
come onto a
create
sadistic quiz, but
a credits thing that says you're out of order. You're out of order. This whole football club's out of order. And if you don't know that reference,
no, but
no, you need to educate yourself on films and stuff.
I know. I'm too busy getting weed on by a toilet, which feels like that's the wrong way around, but
It's preparing you for parenthood. That's what it's doing.
oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very kind of it. And we'll end on this thought. Can we all take a moment and have a laugh at Sheffield United getting hammered 4-1 at home by Bristol City? And people said that we needed to sign Gus Hamer immediately, otherwise we'd be in trouble.
I said that we didn't need to sign him. I didn't like him. I thought he looked ploddy. Him and Schmidt would make a great pairing. Like just plodding along without any kind of
energy or care in the world.
Basically. So no, he's not for me. And also, he's a yellow card machine in the Championship, so he'd be a red card machine for Leeds in the Premier League. So yeah, we don't need any help with getting players sent off because of referees who don't like us. We can do that perfectly well by ourselves.
Basically, sod him. And with that in mind, hope you've enjoyed the stream. Hop over to Evie's channel if you haven't yet. Give it a subscribe. It's a nice place to be. Subscribe to this one if you haven't as well. That'd be fantastic. Like the stream. Do some comments. I don't know.
The notification bell on.
Yeah, that
and
one.
stuff.
I never say that one. And then I look at my YouTube statistics sometimes and it's like, you have a below average number of people that have the notification bell. And I'm like, oh yeah, I should probably do something about that. But I never do. So thank you, Evie, for being better at running my own channel than Anyway, with all that in mind, I may bring this quiz format back at some point. Maybe next time Evie pops on. I don't know. Maybe it'll be a personalized form of psychological warfare. Who knows? But I hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you later.